All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to another webinar session with Transform Africa. It's so good to have all of you on the call today. We are live from Lagos, Nigeria. Please, if you're joining us from anywhere else outside the country, just let us know in the chat where you're joining us from. We hope that this would be an interactive session. And also, if you have any questions throughout the session, please feel free to use the question function on your device to post any questions that we will address later on during the webinar. Once more, thank you so much for joining us and making time to attend this session with us this morning. Here at Transform Africa, we are very passionate about educating on technology because we believe that technology is a major enabler for so many industries, for so many businesses, for so many organizations. So it's no surprise that we continue to engage with you on sessions such as these. Today, we are tackling a very interesting topic, people mobility management solutions in the construction and real estate sectors. Now, people mobility management is quite an interesting discussion, right? Especially when you're looking at big sectors like construction and real estate. These are sectors that have quite a large volume of manpower, and therefore you can see why there is a connection between these two industries and a need to discuss people mobility management and how technology can be an enabler in managing some of the many facets in these industries, because we know that they operate mainly with contract workers. There's a lot of shift work, job processing. They also interact with other partners, so there's often a lot of visitors to their sites. Then a key question that any one in this sector wants to ask themselves is, how then do we make sure that our resources are protected and that our day-to-day work is mobilized in a way that everything is so easy to manage? Then that's how we come to the discussion of today's webinar. Today we are happy to announce that we are partnering with Matrix. Matrix is a leader in security and telecom solutions for modern businesses and enterprises. Since its inception in 1991, Matrix has launched cutting-edge products like video surveillance systems, access control, time attendance systems, and telecommunications solutions. Matrix has global footprints in Africa, Asia, Europe, North and South America. Matrix has also been recognized across the world and won many international awards for their innovative products. So we're so excited to partner with Matrix on this session. Now, moving on to introduce you to our panel for today. Introducing Mr. Uchenna Anyenunu. Uchenna is a senior sales executive with over 12 years of sales experience across various industries, including pharmaceutical, fast-moving consumer goods, oil and gas, just to mention a few. He has a background in biochemistry, business administration, IT, and management. A pleasure to have you, Uchenna. Introducing Tolulope Onasanya. Tolulope is an avid marketing professional with experience in digital marketing, content development, consultancy, and design. She has helped businesses in Nigeria grow and transform through applying modern marketing techniques. Her background in computer science has seen her interact with clients and partners across the world. Now, last but definitely not least, introducing Mr. Abioye Tomiwa. Tomiwa is a sales and business development executive with experience in the IT and services industry. He has a background in computer engineering, research, public policy, project management, customer service, and management. He is currently the sales manager for Matrix COSEC and is based here in Nigeria. Now, we'll get to interact a little more with our panel once we get to the panel discussion of our webinar today. Now, going back to the topic, I hope you are all keen to hear what Tomiwa has to share with us, right? And please feel free to post your questions as he is presenting. And while we're having the panel discussion, also feel free to do so. In between the webinar, we'll have a number of polls just to get a feel of various opinions from you. So please, we'll just have short 20 to 30-second polls. Feel free to participate in those polls. So at this point, I'll be handing over to Tomiwa to take us through a little presentation. So thank you all very much once again for joining us. Over to you, Tomiwa.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Nelly, for the introduction. I would like to say a big thank you to everyone for joining us this morning for this brief presentation. And I also like to thank everyone from Transform Africa for putting this together. My name is Tomiwa Bioye. I'm sales manager for Matrix ComSec here in Nigeria. Today, we just like to quickly show you and everyone present on this webinar today, people mobility solutions for the construction, real estate sectors, and how it can improve your processes and operations. Next slide, please. Okay, so we found out the main pain areas for our users, and we realized that for one, most of them is for regarding irregularity of workers, accurate and timely salary payments, and security of manpower and manpower assets. Those are the major pain areas for people in these industries. And the question is always, how do we go about improving all of this process? How do we ensure that our workers are regular, they are at work on time? How do we ensure that we also pay our workers at the right time and also pay them accurate wages? So for one, for the regularity of workers, we'll look at complex attendance policies from shifts to overtime to late in early out policies and all of that. We look at multiple shifts and schedules, and we also look at how can we ensure that all our workers are properly tracked and we know that we're getting accurate feedback in terms of manpower and resources. Next slide. Okay, so also to for accurate and timely salary payment, we want to ensure that we have our accurate data for payroll and also have enough reports to meet up with statutory requirements from various organizations. Next slide, please. So also to security of manpower and assets, our manpower and human resource and our assets, especially equipment and resources or raw materials that we have available in our various facilities. Those are important assets to protect. With the people mobility solution for Matrix ComSec, you are able to restrict unauthorized assets in various locations and zones. You're also able to control visitor and vehicle movement around your facility or your sites or your or the estates. And also there's also integration with third-party hardware to ensure that everything is safe and protected at all times. Next slide, please. Okay, for irregularity of workers and managing complex attendance policy, the COSEC Central software from Matrix, next slide, please, from Matrix helps in ensuring that you can create your different kind of policies. You can create various policies that have to do with late in and out, compensatory of policies, overtime policies, early in and out policies. All of these processes that can be found in engaging your workers, especially for large organizations that have a large amount of workers that you're managing across different locations or different sites. You can have all of these attendance policies set up on the software, and you are able to manage it accurately and get without having to need any manual intervention. Everything and all of the reports from these policies can always be generated for HR and integrating with your HR processes. Next slide, please. You're also able to manage leave and leave policies, and you're also able to customize it as you please. Next, please. Next slide, please. So yes, you can have various shifts, overnight shifts. You can create multiple shifts and schedules up to 999, up on 999 schedules and unlimited shifts. With this, you're able to keep up with all your employees and staff and ensure that everyone's shift or every shift that is created is able to be managed, and you're able to get proper feedback on how the shift operations are going. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So also for your salary and accurate payments and ensuring that your staff, they are paid at the right time and they are also paid the right amount, you can have various reports generated from the software. These reports can be used in meeting up with all your legal operations and requirements. With this report, you're also able to meet up with your HR requirements as well for the staff, and also for managing the organization in a large part, the human resource organization. So from the contract workers to the employees, full-time employees, to the visitors and all of those things, you're able to get different reports and information. These reports can be in Excel, PDF, Word, or whatever format you prefer. Next slide, please. Yes, also for payments and payroll integration, you can directly in about 3 different ways integrate your payroll with the human resource or the COSEC Central Access Control software. It integrates with Tally, SAP, and various human resource managing softwares. Using APIs, exporting your reports, or connecting the database to database together. This is able to help you integrate or receive data from the software accurately, without any form of manual interference or intervention. All of this can be automated to provide you reports on a weekly basis or on a daily basis or on a monthly basis, depending on how your organization operates. So this is also able to, it's flexible in the sense that it works with your existing operation policies and just makes it better by providing accurate data across your organization from the various information you've gathered about your users, your employees, your contractors, your visitors. All of this information can also just be tallied and provided for the third-party payroll software to ensure every payment that is required to be done, or every process is improved as it should. Next slide, please. Yes, so with centralized management, if you have a number of sites or a number of plants or a number of estates across a location, maybe in Nigeria, but you don't want to manage all those locations at their local level, you want to have like a global view or a global management for all of these locations. You can have the centralized management software installed at the main point, maybe the headquarters, and you can monitor all of these other locations. For example, in Nigeria, you could have across Lagos, or maybe across Lagos, Ibadan, or your Anambra, or something like that. You can still monitor and manage all of these sites and manage the human resource in all of these sites accurately, regardless of their locations, because of the matrix COSEC system and how it integrates and works together. So even as long as you're on your local area network or your wide area network with internet facilities across the various sites, you can manage all of these resources at those sites. Please, next slide. Also, another key thing is also security of your manpower and your assets. Access control is one of those requirements. So access control is able to restrict user movement. It's also able to restrict movements to zones, and it can also restrict time access to various locations. All these various levels of access control help to restrict areas to help to restrict your users to specific areas. So you ensure that everyone can only be at the right place where they're supposed to be, and they can be there at only the right time. They cannot be there at any other time. Next slide, please. Also, for access control, we have with the Matrix COSEC Central, we have multiple advanced access control features. For one, you can have the two-person rule for maybe locations where you keep materials, you keep your assets or important items. You can have the two-person rule in that particular location. The two-person rule is basically a dual authentication access control measure, in the sense that if you have maybe a store, or yes, let's call it a store, or a room where we keep machinery equipment or no, you can have a two-person rule whereby it's maybe the manager and someone else can have access, but without those two people being there for authentication, access cannot be granted to such locations. So we use this for highly confidential areas. Next slide, please. Also, for protection of your assets, and you can have guard tour. The guard tour ensures that your security guards are on site or on the premises have to be at different points across the night. So they need to keep on moving, and it ensures patrol from these night watch or night guards. Next slide, please. Also, so you are able to manage visitors to your plans, to your estates, to your various sites, and no one can just go there at any particular time. Every meeting, every appointment has to be fixed. So with this, you can have pre-registrations of visitors. You can also have on-site registration of visitors. And with this visitor management, various employees will be notified about their visitors prior to their arrival. And once they arrive, they can also get notifications that visitors have arrived. So with this, we're able to monitor who is going to see who, the visitors people are receiving, and who a visitor came to see. You can also get feedback on the access that the visitor was granted in various locations. And with all of this, you have the data to back it up. Next slide, please. Also, you are able to record entry and exit of visitor vehicles or whatever vehicles from maybe even your employees. And with this tool, we can have a level of access control. It can be integrated with our boom barrier, and we can have prior registered visitors have granted access control before they get to the entrance gate of your facility, depending on what your security is like. So you can do all of these various levels of integrations for protecting of your assets. Next slide, please. Also, in integrating with various other manufacturer hardware, from security to safety, you can integrate with fire alarm system to open your doors when there's a trigger of a fire event. You can also the reason for this is you ensure everyone can get access to leave the building. So all doors are open once there's a fire trigger. With this, our access door controllers are able to communicate with fire alarm panels and devices, and they ensure that everyone gains access to or exits the building. Next slide, please. Also, we can integrate with video surveillance. This is also still to protect our assets and know whoever is coming into a particular location. So at the trigger of an event, the cameras are connected to the door controllers can take pictures of whoever is at that entrance at that time trying to gain access. And we're able to protect our assets and people. Next slide, please. So yes, we can integrate with various hardware, turnstiles, tripods, boom barriers, door controllers, door locks, electronic door locks, fire alarm systems, and video surveillance. Next slide, please. So for one of the benefits you would gain from making use of Matrix products and in all of what we've said is it helps to increase productivity. Productivity by making use of access control, time attendance, software, you are able to ensure your people are on site on time. They are at their plants on time. They are at various locations on time, and this is also able to help you ensure that they work the amount of time that they're supposed to work and get to those various locations at various times. So also it helps increase productivity because your employees are sure or your workers are sure that they are protected and they can focus on their core responsibilities. For example, in situations where you have man traps and all of those things, once the safety of the worker is ensured, he's able to then focus on all the other activities that you're supposed to be doing in that particular location. So it helps us to increase productivity. Also, with the automated attendance processes, you are able to ensure that you have accurate attendance or data for your staff, the staff work rates. You are able to ensure that this is also integrated with your HR software, and you are able to get accurate information and also ensure that payments and wages are done correctly. Another thing it also does for you is it helps to improve or increase your security. For example, with things like guard tour, you ensure that your security is not just static and it ensures that it moves around the facility all time. It also helps to increase security when you reduce access or you restrict access to certain locations for certain individuals. So reducing access to areas where we have our important equipment or important assets helps us to it's with increasing of the security function that you get from this, you're able to know that all your equipment or your materials are well protected and even your people are well protected, that you cannot have the wrong people in at the wrong time. So also with the visitor management, you are sure that you have only the people that are pre-registered or registered to be in the building at those certain times. Also, it reduces payroll errors. You have less complaints about error in payroll payments, and it also ensures that errors that have to do with payroll are extremely reduced by providing accurate information or accurate man hours performed by or man working hours performed by our employees. Another thing it also does for us is helps to reduce costs by automating all of these processes. You reduce costs from other places that you might have been losing money. For instance, maybe people not working for the amount of hours that they're stating, or problems that are usually generated as a result of human intervention. So to a certain level, this helps us to set our policies and to reduce problems with human intervention in the system. So once it's automated, we're sure automated with our policies, we're sure that we can get accurate information and feedback. Another thing we can get from this is higher employee satisfaction. Because now we're getting accurate information from our employee, we're getting accurate data from our employee, we can then begin to know their pain points. We can then use this information in ensuring employee satisfaction. If we have complaints regarding payments, payroll, or payroll errors, we can be able to use the information that is gathered with the time attendance software to improve our processes and ensure that payments and accurate payments and accurate overtime policies and all of those things are put in place. So this will help us to improve satisfaction of our employees. Next slide, please. So we have a couple of customers and clients that are already making use of all of these solutions, people mobility solution in improving their processes in Nigeria. One of them is 7-Up Bottling Company, and they took advantage of our people mobility solution software, which is known as the COSEC Central, in improving their processes from time attendance to access control to job processing and costing to contract workers management. So this is able to give them centralized attendance management in all of their facilities across Nigeria. And we're able to track work orders, the progress of work orders. Also, it's able to integrate with their SAP database and improve their operations by giving them access to user data and user time attendance data mostly. Also, there's integration with Boom Barriers and Toastyle to make the process and movement of employees and staff easy. Also, there are advanced access control features from occupancy control to dual level authentication to facial recognition. All of these features are available in order to also improve their processes and ensure seamless movement of employees and workers. And for various rules put in place, we have access or alarm notifications that you can get from the facility. Maybe in the case of a fire, you can get alarms from maybe with a siren that is integrated into the access control feature. You can get alarm notifications. Moving further. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Also, we have other customers that have taken advantage of, especially our people mobility solution here in Nigeria, from the Seplat to Main to Kathmandu. We help them manage human resource across their organizations and sites. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So when we talk about the software and we talk about all the data that you can gain from the software, there's also another part to it, which is the hardware devices that we use in gaining all of this information. So for our hardware devices, we have biometric devices and RFID card devices. Depending on what you're trying to do, depending on how you're trying to set up your operations, and depending on your requirements, you can make use of fingerprint biometric, you could make use of card readers, you could make use of, because of the recent requirement for contactless technology, you can make use of palm vein readers, you can make use of facial recognition. All of this will be the data points. These are the points where users will sign in, will get their information. All of these across your facility or across your site ensures that we have accurate information on the activities of the users around those places. So you can have various facial recognition to improve contactless movement around your offices or around your plants or around your sites. You can have a palm vein reader. You can have the multispectral reader that reads beyond the surface level of your fingerprints. So it reads the subsurface level of your fingerprints. We have all of those various products. Please, next slide. So with all of these hardware devices, the fingerprint devices, the facial recognition devices, you are able to take advantage of some solutions from the COSEC Central software. And the good thing about the COSEC Central software that is responsible for the people mobility solution, or is the core of the people mobility solution, is that it's a modular kind of solution. You can, depending on your requirements or depending on what you are looking at getting at this particular time, you can take advantage of some of the solutions that are present in the COSEC Central, like from the time attendance to the access control to the visitor management to cafeteria management to field visit management to your employee self-service. All of these modules are actively present in the COSEC Central software, but depending on your requirements per time, you can activate them for use and begin to use them and gain information or gather data for regarding various users and organizations or your sites or your locations. You can gather all of this information using the software, and the software is able to integrate with various other softwares via database to database connection or using APIs. Next slide, please. Okay, so I would say thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, you can just keep on sharing them with us, and we look to answering some of them. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Tomiwa, for that wonderful presentation. You mentioned a lot of interesting things there that Matrix COSEC is able to do. I think, first of all, when we're having this conversation around people mobility management, we also have to tie it with the current state of the world, with the undergoing pandemic, right? It's very important that we continue to make sure that not only our assets in these industries, most of the assets are really around heavy machinery, but also making sure that the manpower stays safe also, right? And two things that I think this solution can really assist a lot of organizations to do is, number one, to curb the spread, and also if there has been cases, to then be able to do other things like contact tracing, right? Because it's a solution, right? In one of the slides that you showed the various other solutions that Matrix COSEC offers, ranging from time attendance, time to access control, to visitor management, contact workers, employee self-service, and vehicle access, just to mention a few. But I think, we're just in a time where a lot of organizations, if not every organization, has had to make sure that they follow certain procedures to make sure that abiding to the rules and regulations that have been set up by our government and also by the healthcare authorities, right? And I think a solution like this is where technology really comes through to make sure that we continue to operate as normal as possible. And we continue to also look out for the well-being of our people. Now, at this point, I will just share with you a quick poll. Kindly participate. We'll just have it open for a few seconds. So it's just a short question that we would just like to find your opinion on, and you'll see it shortly on your screen. Thank you. All right, thank you so much for your responses. I am seeing them coming in on my side. At this point, we'll be moving on to our panel discussion. Really, I think we just want to tie in the conversation once again, like I've just mentioned. These two industries, there is a lot of resources, right? Both from the physical assets aspect of it, and also the two sectors employ a lot of manpower. So how do we, in the times that we are in, make sure that these industries continue to thrive? Because the reality is that these two are growing sectors in a lot of countries around the world, particularly here in Africa, particularly here in Nigeria. So how do we mitigate the times that we are in while making sure that there's growth in these industries? So the first question we're going to ask is, what are the key lessons that COVID-19 has brought to light in relation to health and safety? And I'll hand over this question to Uchenna. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nelly, and good morning once again, everyone. It has been an impactful one. Thank you to the presenter too. For this question, I'll go straight. Everybody know what COVID have done to the whole humanity. Has changed our normals to misnormal. In fact, we are in a new normal. Let me put it that way. So for this particular question, it is very clear that health is the base of everything. If the workforce is healthy, a lot can be achieved. But imagine the days of the lockdown where nobody could go out, you couldn't do anything, and let's just imagine that there was no means of communication in terms of the IT-enabled solutions. What the world will have been facing totally at that point in time. But for this in the industry, what we just have to say is that health safety is very, very key to our efficiency in whatever we're doing. And we should always try to live by the protocols of this COVID. There are speculated less videos online. There are very, very wonderful messages on how to go about it. It's not new to us. We just have to believe that it's here to stay, and we live with it. No matter the industry you find yourself, be it in the estate, be it in any other place, it's something that you have to first of all think this day before you're thinking of the work performance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uchenna. I think you have summed it up really nicely. And I hope that a key lesson really from this time is that health and safety should not just be a concern now. It should be a concern at all times. Now, moving on to the second question. In terms of access control solutions, what trends have been observed in the past 2 years? I will hand over this question to Tomiwa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nelly. For this particular question, I think a part of what the last panelist said, I think Mr. Uchenna said also refers to the pandemic. And pandemic has changed how we behave as humans and how we move around as humans. And for us, people mobility too is the major requirements of organization. And also the pandemic has also brought more light to that, and why ensuring proper management of movement of people is important for organizations. So for us, we've seen higher requirements for access control, also advanced requests for advanced access control features, like also visitor management. And we've seen an improvement in facial recognition technology because of the need for contactless technology to improve movement and speed of movement for most organizations. So access control has really started, it has changed, it has evolved. Requirements of users has also changed largely because of the pandemic. We're looking at how to ensure faster movement and quicker movement, and also ensure the right people are at the right place at the right time. So with contactless technology like facial recognition and also solutions like visitor management, your contract workers management, you are able to ensure that everybody is at the right place at the right time, and we're able to prevent or reduce the movement around of diseases or what have you. So that's some of the changes we've realized, and I think going forward, there's a whole lot more to come from the access control industry because of the requirements for movement for people as we go forward. Thank you, Nelly.
All right, thank you so much, Tomiwa. You know, the first thing that you mentioned there is that during this period, there's been more requests for access control solutions, right? I think it really speaks volume. And if you're a business and you don't have an access control solution, then that's something that you really have to evaluate. Another thing that you mentioned is advanced requirements. I think we are not just looking at a typical access control solution, but we are looking at something that has added benefits, added features, and some sort of intelligence behind it. Now, moving on to question 3, which I'll be posing to Tolulope. What key features should a complete people mobility management and access control solution have? Over to you, Tolulope. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Nelly. Thank you, everyone, for joining on this call. So, right straight into the question, right? Talking of access control, right? We all know that it has always played a vital role in any organization with the main objective to protect physical IP and then human assets. So, for the people mobility management solution in general, there are some features, some key features that it has to have, and then some of this I'll be mentioning are time attendance. The first one where you'll be able to automate attendance management software with records of the data of users that generate various reports for their further actions. Then the next key one is the visitor management as well. So this is designed to address visitor management in every professional and systematic method without compromising security, hospitality, or productivity. And then the third one I'll be mentioning is the cafeteria management, right? So this provides an automated canteen management system, right? So with this, you'll be able to place order to delivery, and then uh, it also allows administrator to create menu item for different types of food offered in the cafeteria. And then also another key feature is also the job processing and costing, right? So that also is designed to accommodate the life cycle of a job. And then also another key feature is the field visits management. We also have the contract workers management, also the employee self-service as well. So this is where the employee can view a variety of information, including the attendance summaries, the events, the leave balances, holidays, and other work schedules. Right. So those are some of the key features that a mobility solution should have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tolulope. You mentioned some very interesting points there. I think I just want to highlight attendance, right? Right from the very minute that a staff or an employee enters your building, right, or a site, you want to make sure that that is being captured correctly, accurately. But also when they're having their breaks, whether it's a tea break, the addition to the cafeteria to have lunch, you also want to make sure that your access control solution or your people mobility management solution is integrated into the various systems or applications that you use within your organization. And one of the points that Tomiwa mentioned is that this solution is able to integrate with other third-party applications. So it makes it quite easy to work with. Another key feature, right, that I really like is the fact that there's a self-service, right? You really want to make sure that you empower the people to be able to take the actions. But more than that, I mean, the reason why we are using technology is for things to be simpler, right? in terms of not bottling everything to one person, but enabling everyone to be able to have the power at their hands. So that self-service feature is really important. Now, moving on to the fourth question, which I'll bring back to Uchenna again. What are 3 areas of people mobility management that organizations should prioritize? Over to you, Uchenna. Thank you.
So, looking at what the presentation we went through now, three areas are very, very key for surviving this time for any organization. And the first one is people's management. Because as we said, due to the new normal we find ourselves, there has been room for remote working. So people management have to be touched on, because you have to be sure that where your resources say they are, what they are doing is what they are doing at any point in time, and that is where you need these solutions. So for people's management, that covers a lot. We know when we come, you talk of the attendance, you talk of the reporting, you talk of a lot. You talk of people's management in an organization, and that is very, very key to surviving of any the survival of any organization at this point in time. Then secondly is operations. In the sense, no matter how it is, no matter how we find ourselves, process and operation is one thing that have to continue, and not only continue just to be running, but to be run productively and effectively at all points in time. So when you look at this, that's the key area that every business must time. You have to put a lot into a lot of solutions that will make you to be among the organizations that want to really survive. Because business as usual is not like it or not. Look at your process and operations and for IT enablement solutions that can help you to do that. And finally, comes to mind when you talk of people, you talk of process and process and operations, when you talk of security. You can't leave yourself open at this time. Aside attack that can actually bring any organization down at any point in time. So organizations should also look security as a very key point. And we have in the presentation a lot of things that you can do, from managing the visitors to a lot of security, them access control that you can put in place to check what is happening in your environment. So for me, these 3 areas, people's process and operations and security, is the 3 areas every people look very, very critical at. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uchenna. You know, one of the points that you mentioned then is process and operation. The thing here also is that the solution, there really has to be a methodology behind it. It cannot just be a people mobility management solution that you use, but it's just there behind the scenes, right? I think it's something that has to be integrated into daily use, and you can see the functionality in real life anytime that you enter your premises, you go on site, your workforce is fully embedded into using this solution. The last point that you made, very, very, very important, security, right? Security, for one, like I said, this industries or these 2 sectors, they deal with a lot of heavy machinery, right? So that means we have to make sure that the assets are protected. But more than that, you have to make sure that your manpower is safe. But also, I mean, moving on to real estate also, you also want to make sure that people that stay in the real estate or occupy your real estate are safe and are protected at all times, which brings us to this 5th question, right? There is a growing demand for access control solutions in the home. And what are some of the rising solutions in the Nigerian and African market for residentials? I'll hand over this question to Tomiwa. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelly.
So yes, for the growing demand for access control solutions in the residential market, one thing we've seen is the need for automated access control, which has to do with integrations with boom barriers, automated sliding gates, turnstiles, and door locks. So we've seen an increased demand, especially in all of those areas. So people want their automated solutions. They want their solutions to be fully automated. So right from the first entry, which is access control into the residential apartments, you can have boom barriers and boom barriers, automated gates integrated with our access control solutions to ensure that accurate control of access into buildings. So taking advantage of solutions like plate number recognition, using the fingerprint devices, using the facial recognition devices, you are able to control access into some of these residential apartments or homes. Those are some of the things that we're seeing in the residential industry for access control. More requests for automated access controls. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tomiwa. I think it speaks volume, right? The need for smarter homes or smart homes these days, right? People want to buy homes knowing that they are safe and they're secure in their residences, not only inside the home, but as soon as they enter their facility or their estate, they want to make sure that safety starts at the door. So thank you very much for that. Now, moving on to our last question, which I will pose to Abayomi. For a business that has not invested in access control and people mobility management, where would you recommend that they start? Over to you, Abayomi.
All right, thank you very much, Nelly. Thank you, everyone. I think some of the panelists already touched on this, including Tomiwa. I think the first place to start will be to understand your processes and operations, as Uchenna rightly mentioned. I think it's very important, for you to even start, for you to even look at how to adopt this into your business. You need to do a review and audit of where you are now. What are the kind of visitors you have? How many visitors come in per day? What are the kind of threats, within your vicinity? And not only this, you need to also look at the anticipatory security breaches, anticipatory risk, within that area. It might be something that might come in the future. So these are areas, especially within the construction environment. These are areas we need to really, really look at and have all this, reviews and reports before we can now say yes, this is what we would need to do specifically, so that you'll be adopting the right solution for your business. You'll be adopting the right solution for your real estate, and I think that's where we play as Transform Africa as well. We can, for the construction companies here, we can actually come in to help you build that business case, in that we can help you look at all the threat and come up with a design working with our partner, Matrix COSEC. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Abayomi. I think everyone has summed it up very nicely. I just want to take this opportunity to thank the rest of our panel. I think what you have contributed in terms of your answers has made for a meaningful discussion, and that every one of our attendees has picked up one or two things. Now, we're just going to go into a very short poll, so please just have a look at your device, and I would appreciate if you could just answer that poll. Thank you. All right. So we are now just going to be moving on to our Q&A section. We are really just out of time. Unfortunately, we'll only be able to address one question. Thank you so much to our attendees for all the interactions. If we have not fielded any of your questions, please know that we will address them in follow-up communication via email. Now, the one question that I have, I'll just pose it to Tomiwa. It says, I would like to know what will be required to integrate camera to the access control solution. Can you integrate external cameras, and do you have a camera solution? Over to you, Tomiwa.
Yeah, thank you once again, Nelly. For that particular request, yes, all you need is an NVR and the camera to be connected with a Matrix door controller. So the door controller triggers the NVR to take snapshots at the sign or at the sense of any events. So yes, we manufacture cameras and NVR, and all you need for that particular integration is just the camera and the NVR, and they work quite well with external cameras as well. So thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Tomiwa. At this point, we have reached the end of our webinar session. Please note that we'll continue to interact with you in subsequent sessions, just to inform you on the various solutions and technologies that are out there that you can position for your organization or for your clients. Please feel free to connect and follow us on our social media. We are Transform Africa Limited on Facebook and LinkedIn, or you can visit our website www.transformafricalimited.com, or drop us an email at services@transformafricalimited.com. As you are leaving the call, we'll just have a very short survey for you to fill. Would really appreciate that. Until we see you next time, thank you so much for joining us for our webinar sessions at Transform Africa. My name is Nelly. Do have a great and fantastic day. Thank you.